What up, my Nizers? It's me, Sick Jim. And that comment was placed on my last video where someone asked me, what do you think about black people? And some people thought my answer was a little bit racist. Of course, it wasn't racist. You just weren't paying attention to the video. But if you want to know what I really think about the Jews, I fucking love them. I love the Jews. They're so fucking great. I mean, I like the Jews like more than I like Christians, even though I don't know any Jews. So I've never bought into the whole conspiracy of Jews control the world, because if I believed that, we would have had at least one Jewish president by now, and we have not. So that whole theory is immediately thrown out when you realize we don't actually have a Jewish president. And it's also thrown out again and again when you go, oh, Jews run everything, except, for like the hellholes like Chicago and DC, which, they're just running those into the ground. California is also being run into the ground, but the governor's not Jewish. And, normally one of the reasons why I like Jews is because they actually have better statistics than most races. They actually statistically commit less crime. They get higher standardized test scores, and they generally stereotypically choose intellectual jobs. And when it comes to intellectual jobs, it turns out 27% of the best people in the world are Jewish. And you know who are the best people in the world? That's right, Nobel Peace Prize winners. Nobel Peace Prize winners. Jews are like 1% of the world, but they're 27% of people making advancements in science and technology that is improving all of our lives. And the other reason why I love the Jews is the Jews recently just saved the fucking world in multiple different ways. And, well, actually, Donald Trump saved the world more, but it happened just today or yesterday that one of my other videos was talking about how President Netanyahu unalived the prime minister of the Houthis in Yemen. So the situation in Yemen is at least 5 times worse than the situation in Palestine, but no one ever fucking talks about that because it's the exact same reason why no one talks about Tyrese Nichols. You see, people know the name George Floyd because that was a black guy who was unalived himself while being arrested by a white cop. But Tyrese Nichols was a black man who was beaten to death quite clearly by 3 black cops. So because it's black on black crime, we don't give a fuck. But because Palestine is a Muslim on Jewish crime, they really gotta whine and cry and moan about it. But no one cares about the Muslim on Muslim crime that is happening in frickin' Yemen right now. In Yemen, there are 3 million child brides married to over 40-year-old PDF files. And you don't see the Jews doing that. You see better, culture with the Jews. You see ones that value science, technology, reason, understanding these good things. And the thing is, the Jews not only did the entire world a favor by unaliving the leader of the Houthis and his entire cabinet today. That just happened today. But the Jews also do the world a favor basically every time they deal with Muslims. And Muslims recently or Islamic extremists drove into Syria, murdered millions, and just bombed the place and tore it apart. And no one came to their aid, not even the United States, except for Israel. Israel stopped them from slaughtering millions of Christians and Druze, and that's one of the reasons why they're heroes. They also did not start this war. And I am just so happy that we've got Jews improving our statistics instead of certain groups who make the statistics 10 times worse. So I'm very happy to have the Jews, and that's probably not the answer you were expecting. But have a nice day, and remember, I do this because I love you.